Hi, Mr. Johnson here, and we are going to talk today about an overlapping contour hand drawing artwork. So I want to show you some examples. So if you choose this topic, you'll see what I'm looking for. I'll explain how to do it, and then you can be off and create and make something really cool. So let's go. So a contour drawing is a drawing that uses only outlines to show edges and details of forms. So these are examples of contour drawings of hands that are all overlapped in an interesting way. Now, these could be great examples of the project that we are doing with this video. So let's look at this example here that's on the left. This artist drew multiple hands, and they're all overlapping each other. Then they've included the wrists, part of the arm. They all come down from the bottom. This reminds me a little bit of a bouquet of flowers because all of the arms are kind of coming out of the same location here. And then the hands just bend and twist in different ways. I think that's really cool. So the contour drawings have no shading, no value. It's just using line to show the edges of the hand and the fingers, and then also details like wrinkles, folds, knuckles, fingernails, things like that. I think that's really, really cool. On the right, this example is a lot simpler because the hands, when they overlap, the drawings aren't transparent, right? They're opaque. So you can't see through them. On this drawing on the left, you can see through the drawings, like they drew one directly over the other, right? You can, some in the middle here, see multiple hands at once. On the right, they're all separate, still perfectly acceptable, very cool. On the left, this drawing has all the hands kind of starting from the same point, facing the same direction. The one on the right, the artist kept turning the paper so that the hands come in from all different sides and angles. Again, both are very cool. So let's take a look at how to draw some contour hands. This is a video I found of another art teacher doing this demonstration. So we'll watch. I'm going to pause it a couple times so that we can talk about what he's doing. But this will give you a great example of how you can draw your own hand using contour lines. Funky music.
Hello, my name is Mr. Sainamont, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to draw a hand. I'm going to use this pose right here. And by the way, this is all sped up, so if you want to see how the real contour, how slow and how long it should take, then just adjust the speed in your settings. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm drawing from an area where there is a lot of detail, and I'm being careful not to venture too far from that starting point. So if you think of it like you're in a wilderness area of an unfamiliar place, you follow trails gradually out and keep reporting back to your home base. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm staying close to where I started. Because the problem with contour drawing is if you go too far out, you start to lose the reference points of things, and you get lost, and then it starts to look really weird. So I'm making a risky move here by drawing the thumb. And then I'm going back to another bend in the finger that overlaps the tip of the thumb. And there is the index finger. And then I'm going to finish the shape of the thumb. So just the thumb is drawn now with outer contours. And then the thumbnail. Yeah, if you go all the way out to just outer contours like the outline of the hand, you may lose where you are, and things can start to look really distorted. So it's good to...
So what he's talking about there, right, is that when you have your pose for your hand, and you should be looking at your own hand while you're drawing, right? Don't make it up. Really look at it. And start in one detailed area towards the center. So if I were doing a pose like this, I might start with this finger right here, the edge of this fingernail, and then maybe I draw this finger, and then work my way out. Then maybe this one, then the pinky, then the pointer finger, then the thumb, then this side. And the reason to do that is that it allows your brain to keep everything in proportion with one another. And if you were instead to just start here at the bottom and draw the thumb, and then the index finger, and the middle finger, and the ring finger, and the pinky, and then back down, it's very difficult to keep everything in proportion that way. You may wind up with your line too far over, too far inwards. If you kind of start in the center and work your way out, it helps keep everything balanced. So let's watch him finish this, and then we'll talk about what he did.
to stay close to what's familiar when doing contour line drawing. Now I've messed up on the thumb. You can see I'm trying to redraw it there. It looks a little bit bent backwards, and that's simply because I think I was not looking at the negative space between the thumb and the forefinger, and now the drawing will suffer. Oh well. The rest of it's pretty good. I've been doing this lesson for about 9 years, at least a couple times a year, and it's still a challenge. So it's always good to keep practicing difficult things like drawing a hand.
Hands are really hard to draw. They really
now I'm
are.
drawing the base of the thumb, which is made up of a series of curved lines, and that emphasizes the form because the base of the thumb is very round. And then I'm just going to go back and add some details, just some minor wrinkles and details to flesh out the rest of the hand. And then I'm going to just go a little further down, more lines for the thumb to make up for that horrible bend in the thumb. Darn thumb. And then the wrist is going to have a bit of a fold. There's the crease in the wrist, and then I'll just pretty much stop right about there.
Okay, so here he's done his contour drawing of his hand. Now, one thing I want to point out, well, actually, there are a couple of things. Say one thing, but still going to talk for 5 minutes. I think this is a very good contour drawing. This is exactly what I would be looking for. It is not perfect. That is okay, but I don't expect your artwork to be perfect. So a couple things, right? This left edge of his hand here, I think is a little bit off. Even these folds here, I think, are exaggerated a little bit more than they really are. As he pointed out, his thumb kind of bends more than it ought to, but that's okay. Because the basic proportions, how long and wide each finger is compared to the other, where those folds are when they bend, how they overlap, that all creates a great illusion of this hand. And it's these little lines in the wrinkles and in the creases that really make it. Those are so important. So please don't leave those out. Now he's finished with this drawing, but something that I would really want to add, if this were one of my students, what I would ask for would be some of the really little details. Like if you write with this, curved kind of skin fold, I would probably add that in to the fingernail. And there are a couple other places of little things like that. There are some little lines on this edge of the hand that he didn't add in that I would want to add in. But overall, very, very good. So when you're doing a contour hand drawing, you want to go slowly, right? He said this drawing is sped up for the video. So don't think that you're just sitting and boom, and in 2 minutes, you've got your hand contour. It's really difficult to do that. So please take your time, start in one area, get those lines down where you're happy with them, then move on to another area. Start in the center, work your way out. Go slowly and really look at what your pose and your hand looks like. It shouldn't be a generic hand, it should be yours. So if there are freckles there, right, or more lines there, or thick folds, draw them. Right? Look at how this crease comes in at the very bottom of the palm of his hand where it meets his wrist. That is such a great detail that I think gives a lot of character to this drawing. So that's really awesome. So what can you do for your project? Well, I'm so glad you asked. You need to draw multiple hand contour drawings that all overlap. So this top one here, the hands are all in the same pose. They're just the angle moves. The bottom one, they're all different. It's totally up to you if your pose is the same and you repeat it, or if you use different ones. These two are done in color. Now, the contour drawings are just outlines. This artist has kept those outlines going with the color. In the top drawing, the lines continue inside the hands. On the bottom drawing, they follow those outer edges outwards, which is kind of cool. They've used different colored pens and markers to do that. When we watch that video, of that teacher doing his contour drawing, he just took a felt tip pen with a marker and just went for it, which is awesome. I love that. I recommend that you try that. If you're really not comfortable with that, if that scares you, do it in pencil first, right? That's awesome. You can erase that if you say, oh, no, this finger is off. There's nothing wrong with that. Your whole drawing can be in pencil if you want. Just make sure that it looks really nice and clean. It does not have to be done in marker or in color like these examples. Here's one where the artist added some watercolor. Now, this still is a contour drawing because the watercolor does not show shading or value, right? That means that with this tall hand, right, up here, right, when you see that on the camera that way, it's not showing that this side is being hit by the light and this side's darker and in shadow. We're not worried about that. We just added some color for some visual interest. You can also tell that the outlines of the drawings are done with different colored markers, black, blue, and this teal aqua color, which is really pretty. So you're welcome to do that if you want. What I love about this particular contour hand drawing, I think this is excellent, is that the artist used the space really well. The entire page is filled. That's something I'll be looking for. The drawings overlap in a really interesting way. So they've just drawn completely over, right, the other drawings. I think that's really great. And then look at how they've used all of the lines to create these folds and wrinkles and little textures. That gives so much character and personality to this drawing. Please make sure that all hand poses that you choose are school appropriate. I should not have to say that, but I am, just in case. So whatever you choose, make sure that it's appropriate. This is a great example of this project. And what I love about this is that all of the hands are coming in from different directions, and all of the poses are really different. So the artist didn't pick one side of the hand and keep drawing it. Here they challenge themselves to turn it, open the fingers, close the fingers, which really gives you a lot of variety in the drawing. I think the contours themselves are excellent. I love that they included wristbands, bracelets, watches. That just gives some detail. Certainly don't have to do that if you don't want to. Also, notice where the ink kind of pooled up in a few places. That's great about drawings like this, right? Mistakes can happen. That's awesome. Leave them. Don't worry about it. Sometimes the imperfections make them interesting to look at. If you don't know what kind of poses you want to do for your project, maybe the American Sign Language alphabet might be a great starting place for you. These are how you would sign all of the letters. So if you're signing something, right, and you want to sign your name or a phrase or a word for your drawing, that's awesome. If you want to look up how to do other signs for particular words or phrases, you're welcome to do that. Again, as long as they're school appropriate. This does not have to be your basis for your project, but it is certainly an interesting starting point if you choose to do that. So here are the instructions. We've reached the end. It's now time for you to think about exactly what you are going to make. So on one page of your sketchbook, draw your own hand using contour lines in multiple overlapping positions. Again, here are two examples that show that. Include at least 4 hand drawings. So at the minimum, you need to draw your hand 4 times. You can do it as many times as you want. This drawing on the bottom has 6 hand drawings. My suggestion would be to add hands if you need to fill the space. So if you do 4 and you realize that you've got a lot of empty area on your page, add another one. Right? Or maybe there's just part of a hand that gets cropped off the edge, right? Anything like that is great. So what you're going to do is pose your non-dominant hand, that's the hand you're not drawing with, and really look at how it bends, folds, and creases. So if I'm drawing right with this hand, I'm going to pose this hand and look at it, starting at one point and then working my way out from that point. Look at where all those folds and creases are. With this pose, I get so many wrinkles in the palm of my hand that's going to be really exciting to draw. Make sure that you are overlapping these poses in interesting ways and finish the piece with any media that you like. So it can be a simple pencil drawing. If it is, make sure that it is finished well. That means go over those lines nice and dark, make sure you erase any mistakes, keep that drawing nice and clean. If you'd like, you can work on this with pens, felt tip pens or markers. You could use things like highlighters, a ballpoint pen is fine. You can use colored pencils or watercolor if you like. But remember that it is a contour drawing, so we're not looking at shading, just lines, but it can be color or black and white. So I hope that you have a lot of fun working on this. This is a really cool prompt. I can't wait to see what you make. Please don't forget that you should post an in-progress photo before you finish your artwork so that I can give you feedback to make sure that you are headed in the right direction. If you have any questions, post them on the Google Classroom or send me an email, and I can't wait to see what you make.